are going to be at the hand and elbow. There's a big point 18. It's called Great Bone, I think, right at the between the collarbone and the spine of the scapula. So right in that little divot. That's a good one for shoulder pain. But then it comes out through the neck and then crosses over, ends up at the lateral side of the opposite nose, just underneath there.
What point is that?
So there are 20 points. It's 20. 19 is here, and then it crosses over. 18 is actually midpoint of the neck on that SCM. So stomach channel. Where's the stomach channel start? Just under the eye, middle of the eye, on the bottom of the orbit of the eye. There's a little divot there. That's where it starts. Drops down, kind of forms this little pattern, goes up. Stomach 8 is actually at the corner, or they call it the corner of the head. Then it drops down, goes through the mammillary line, right? Stomach's easy to figure. Stomach, in Chinese medicine, is the earth, right? So, and you think about that, it goes right through the nipple. So stomach 17 is at the nipple. Then it comes down, Ru Gen is the last one. And then they go, so that's 4 Su now, drops down, goes 2 Su, and then goes down through the leg, through the knee, then down goes to the big toe side of the second toe. So the second toe, I guess the tibial side, there's 45 points. And then spleen starts at the bottom of the point, there are 21 points. Spleen 21 ends up, that's the great low point, about mid-rib, mid-axillary line. So, understanding those terms, right? So I said, I want you to know the starting points. So lung, large intestine, stomach, spleen. How many points does lung have? 11. How many points does large intestine have? 20. How many points does the stomach channel have? 45, and then the spleen channel has 21. The names of those, you should also know. Lung, channel of hand, Tai Yin. Large intestine, channel of hand, Yang Ming. Stomach, channel of foot, Yang Ming. Yang Ming.
Really?
Spleen, channel of foot, Tai Yang. So those are the paired. You'll notice this, the equivalent, right? Tai Yang, or Tai Yin and Yang Ming, or Yang. So that's great. So those are the names you got to know for those particular channels. That's how. And then so once you know it at that level, and that was. So that's the point. I guess I'd like you to kind of memorize at this point. Pretty simple. It gets so this is really simple. There's only 4 to remember, and the numbers. Once we know that, then we'll start picking them apart. Once we know all of them, and you kind of get the general. And that's important because when you're treating, the first use of any acupuncture point, they'll say local effects. So if I had a wrist pain, and it was on the palmar side near the thumb, I would treat the points along the lung channel that are closest to that point. That's a very valid way of using acupuncture. And again, you can needle, you can stimulate with your thumbnails, you can use a Teishin needle, which is kind of a spring-loaded, doesn't break the skin, but it just stimulates the point. You can use electric acupuncture, whatever, you gua sha.
I have a quick question about
Yeah, go ahead.
meditation. So like I know Kenneth and Sean and I were like having a discussion one day about meditation and like Kenneth mentioned, and it sounded correct, that meditation should be used gently, and like one little quick.
You can't, there's different theories, yeah, which.
But then there's like application of very rough and vigorous use of
Yep.
meditation.
So, yeah, that's another treatment principle.
Okay.
You can treat, and you'll see this listed out too. You can use something to stimulate a point or to sedate a point. Now, there's a couple of different ways to do that. One of the ways to stimulate would be to use the source point. Now, this is getting a little further advanced into those points. each of those channels has, and the reason it gets very complex when you start adding up all 12 meridians, right? There's just six on the upper, 6 on the lower, balanced at a 12, and that's just the primary meridians, what they call the Jing and the Low. The Jing is kind of this concept of they're kind of conduits of energy. The low channels are kind of a different fundamental concept. The low channels kind of in this magical way connect those two paired meridians, and that's why I'm going through. That's why they're located the way they are in their side. They're paired. So there is a source point, which is a theoretical point on the meridian, which is typically the element. So if it's a metal meridian, the metal point, which is one of the antique points, is usually going to be your source point. The low point, which is a different point, is a theoretical point which connects those two meridians. So if you want to stimulate, so this you can stimulate by using aggressive treatment, or you can use a light, right? That's more of a yin type treatment. So that the concept of yin and yang now starts going into how you treat.
Question, to follow up with that, if you had a patient that had a yin deficiency, but you were treating with more of a yang method, that probably wouldn't be as effective?
Yes, and so another fundamental concept, yin and yang also refers to where the disease is in the body. Is it outside the body, or is it inside the body? If a disease is external, if it's a yang type of disorder, external invasion, wind, cold, heat, damp. If you treat inside, if you use a yin point from a theoretical construct, you are actually inviting the disease into the body. So if it's a yang disorder, theoretically, you generally will want to use yang channels to keep your treatment outside the body.
Okay.
One of the other ways you can use that concept of draining, I said you can have Shi disturbances, which are excess or fulminant diseases or effulgent. You can drain energy off by using the low point of the paired channel to kind of draw energy away. The low points visualize farming, right? So they're from a societal standpoint, they were agrarian largely, right? So they used farming and agricultural concepts. The low points or the low channels are almost like little what do they call when you dig holes to kind of draw water? What do you call it?
Yeah.
Irrigation?
Yeah, irrigation, like irrigation ducts. So that, and there's theoretical ways that energy will kind of fill the channel, and then it will kind of spread out into it'll dissipate and it'll kind of spread. When those are full, then all of a sudden the energy will start to back up on a channel. You can use the low point to try to draw some of that energy away from it. So that's going to be one of the other, once we get through and you understand where the basic channels go and their order, then we're going to start going into specifics of which points do what, which are the source points, which are the low points. There's some cleft points, and then to add to the confusion, there's master points, there's confluent points, there's different meridians. Actually, the master points, my understanding is, as I learned more about it, the master points seems like they came from almost a primitive theory, different channels, and what's left of that theory is the master points. So they treat broad areas which don't quite meet up with, they don't match up with the meridians, as you know, and the lung, large, all that stuff. So, but it's easy because if you just memorize those 12 points, you could kind of do the same thing and just again treat broad areas using that concept. So heal, yang chao, the ren, chong, the du, the mai, yin chao, yang chao. You'll learn about all those as we get in.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, you may.
So how much of the treatment of the patient is the intent of the doctor?
Good question. In acupuncture, not so much, although I would argue that a patient's belief in the doctor and the therapy they're using in any element, doesn't matter if it's chiropractic medicine or Chinese medicine, if you have faith that your doctor knows what they're doing and they're doing the right thing, you're going to have a better chance of getting better. I don't know if the Chinese medicine doesn't necessarily have at least I've never run into it, a concept of like autosuggestive type disease. They have spirit, it can be involved
Right.
Shen, which usually is more heart type related, or it can be from kidney too, but, yeah, not necessarily a big player.
Okay.
And actually, one of the reasons I like acupuncture, unlike medicine or chiropractic, we always, we don't treat the symptom, we treat the cause. Well, in Chinese medicine, your symptom, your primary symptom, which is always tricky, your primary symptom almost always is a result of imbalance, and if you use that symptom, now that being said, so you can have a patient with dizziness, well, there's no one single cause for dizziness. There's many different channels that can be involved. It could be a blood deficiency, it could be a qi deficiency, could be excessive, it could be yang, clear yang rising. Which again, those concepts and terms probably don't mean much to you right now, but there's many different causes of dizziness. You have to figure out which of those causes or reasons is why the patient's having that symptom. So symptom will drive your treatment, which, you talk to traditional Chinese medicine, you'll ask a lot about how their stool is formed, right? It's part of the 4 examination. We'll get to that. The 4 examinations, which is looking, seeing, palpating, pulses, and go for, and even pulse diagnosis. That's another real tricky one that hopefully I'll be able to get you in a little bit. Answer your question? Kind of? You keep asking questions. I don't quite answer the first one fully before you get, it's all right though. We'll get there. So I guess my question is for you, what I'd like to do is, and I have some stickers and whatnot, I think what I'd like to do maybe next time, review these channels, and I want you to be able to put a dot on the beginning and end of each of these 4 meridians. So that'll be the test.
Do you have a document for us to look at to review?
You could, yeah. This is a Sarin book. And I'm jumping ahead a little bit because when you look at, so this is the Sarin book. It has a lot of different stuff that talks, because you need to know what a sun is, how do you measure, what are the general,
Is that like 2 fingers?
yeah, so it all starts with basics. So the concept of body measurement, right? And this is, that he talks about perfect measurements or perfect numbers in that one book. Kenneth gave a copy of the Body Electric and I can't remember the name of that one book.
The Spark of the Machine.
Spark of the Machine, which I really enjoy actually reading that, because it's
I'm still reading it.
it's a lot of stuff that's probably way advanced for you right now. You might not understand all of it. I don't understand all of it, to be honest with you, but basic body measurements. We all are designed, even though we're slightly different, so when we use a measurement, it's the unit on a patient. So 1 sun is from crease to crease of that middle knuckle. Some people will say it's the width of your thumb.
It's not the
So it's
outside, it's
from
on the
here, it's the
inside.
creases.
Oh,
This is relative to the patient's hand.
Yeah,
correct?
this is the patient's hand, so mine is not gonna be the same as yours.
And a
Right.
baby's gonna be a lot tinier.
Yep. So
You're
you
not
gotta,
you're not gonna be doing a lot.
yeah, so and I think that might be one of the other things that we can do with this is identify body measure. There's some shortcuts. This is 3 sun from edge of for the 5th to the 2nd metacarpal. That's 3 sun.
Can you face it towards the camera?
Huh?
Can you face it towards the camera? Yeah.
What? That's 3 sun. And there's all sorts of descriptions too of the body measurements. And maybe I'll try to get a picture of this out there.
I can scan this.
Show it, yeah. So just showing the, so it's 8 sun from here to here, 9 from the mid-axillary crease to the elbow crease, and 12 from the elbow crease to the wrist crease. You'll need to know those relative units, and there's shortcuts, right? So if this is 12 sun from elbow crease to here, I can split it in half, right? I know that that's 6 sun. I can put 2 down, so this should be 4 and 4. So there's little shortcuts in terms of how to kind of find those points that will be helpful, that we'll kind of demonstrate when we get to the exact point location. Good enough? So yeah, you need to know some of those body measurements, and what else are we going to talk about? Go on even needling techniques. You talked about how to stimulate or sedate. Theoretically, if you're doing needle insertion, there are techniques. So this whole concept of 3, they view that acupuncture point where you actually fish for chi when you use a needle, which I don't know if we'll get to do that. Hopefully we will. If we do that, we need to go over clean needle technique so you're not hurting patients. There are some points, like in the chest. Would anybody here have problems inserting a needle up into the chest. I would have significant problems using a point up here. What's the worst thing that could possibly happen? You could,
Yeah.
you
An
could collapse a
artery.
lung. Actually, the arteries, yes and no. You can go through an artery, but a lot of times the needle, if you're good at manipulating the needle will actually kind of find the fascia and it will actually deviate,
Go.
so you don't actually puncture the great vessels at least. And even if you did, the vessels probably aren't gonna bleed a lot.
Like it's only gonna be 50 cc. So
Yeah, it's a very, very small needle. It's not the old hollow needles that they used to draw blood. So you're not likely to do that. And even in the bowel and intestine, I've seen those traditional Chinese acupuncturists, they will needle deep. They'll actually, I'm sure they're puncturing some of the peritoneum. But with that, I don't know if you're necessarily gonna have to worry about infection. You think about things like ulcerative colitis. You know, they have basically ulcerated holes in their intestine, and there's blood in those, and they're not getting infections from that. So, but you still need to use caution, especially anywhere near the lung or chest. Pneumothorax is a significant problem you got to watch out for. So I would, if you needle this, I would definitely do an oblique insertion. And when we get to the needling, how deep do you needle? What kind of techniques do you use? There are yin and yang techniques in needle manipulation. Supposedly, when you twist the needle fast clockwise, that supposedly is a stimulating type of treatment. If you go counterclockwise, miraculously, it will sedate a point. If you use different metals, that actually, I was one of the other textbooks I was reading. The original needles started out, they used what's called Bian, B-I-A-N, which were stone needles. Now, these weren't quite as fine, obviously. You can't make a stone real small, but they used to bleed points a lot, which is a valid treatment. Usually, bleeding is to create either unclog stagnation, just to kind of let blood flow through. What you're going to find out when we get to the theory, chi and blood are married. Chi is the commander of blood, and blood engenders chi. Which means that if you lose blood, you lose chi. So great blood loss is something to be considered, but it can be a valid treatment to kind of cool, sedate, maybe remove toxins, as you will get into some different concepts about that. So the points they use, stomach 42 is a great one. A great rush, I can't remember the exact name of that one, but right on dorsalis pedis. Heart 1 is located in the axilla, right near the brachial artery, right? There's some that are located right along where arteries are, and again, some are located right near nerves. Yeah. So again, you can see how this gets real complex real quick. So that's where we'll start with real basic understanding of where those are, because you don't have to needle. You can just take and use acupressure if you want around those. A lot of times there's a lump in a muscle. Most of the times I've seen Chinese, traditional trained Chinese medicine, they'll go to the point, and then if they don't find anything there, they'll just follow up or down until they find something in the tissue that's nodular or painful, and they'll use that point. So you don't always have to use the specific traditional point location. You can migrate from that. Again, they're just, some people view them as just kind of guidelines. Good? Too much? Enough? So, we'll work through it. So for next week, I want you to know that. So be able to name the full channel. So lung channel of arm or hand, Tai Yin. Know the start and end. Large intestine channel of hand, Yang Ming. Stomach channel of foot, Tai Yin, what was it? Yang Ming is stomach. And then spleen, channel of foot, Tai Yin, greater yin. So know those names, know the start and end, and know the number of points. And we'll add from to that. Next one will be the second cycle. So maybe look ahead, see if you can figure what that second cycle is.
They actually want to do a quick demonstration for us to measure soon and draw the points on our bodies. I have one of the pencils with me.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Anyone want to volunteer?
Means it's you.
Okay.
So Why don't you pop your shirt off so we can do the one, you just lay down on your back.
Wait, Jack,
You want
could
someone to video for him?
Yeah.
You want to